Welcome to Kiki and Kibbitz, special bonus episode, 90 Day Fiancé. My name's Brianna, and I'm here with my co-host, Mary. But today, we have a very special guest, and that is somebody who we all call Adam the Translator, who was on the season with Yazan and Brittany. So welcome to the show, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
Coming to us live from Jordan.
Yes. Live from beautiful Amman.
And I was explaining that Mary has been stalking you and begging you to come onto the podcast for many months.
Well, I wouldn't say begging me. I wouldn't say begging me. I mean, she offered me the first time, and at that point, I was so busy, a lot of things happening, so I wasn't able to do it. But she reached out, I think, about a couple of weeks or 10 days ago, and I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's do it.
And I thank you so much, Adam. You have no idea.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, but like our entire country, you know, the United States of America, you are like everyone's love. Like a lot of times the people on 90 Day Fiancé, we give them lots of contempt because they deserve it. But Adam the Translator is everybody's favorite, like universally adored.
Loves Adam the Translator.
Yes.
If you ask any 90 Day Fiancé fan about Adam the Translator, they have nothing but love for you, praise. He's the most level-headed guy. I mean, I want Adam to translate for me. That's all you ever hear out of every 90 Day Fiancé fan.
I've seen some very heartwarming stuff, and some people taking it a little bit too far. But I'm happy. I'm flattered both ways.
You know, I think the reason, besides the fact that, I mean, you seem like a beautiful person, is that you on the season with Yazan and Brittany, you were almost like a mediator or a therapist. It wasn't like you were just translating. It's like you were translating their hearts to each other, which was fascinating.
You know, about that, I remember when that particular episode aired, my wife and I were discussing all the reactions online, and we got to a point where we told ourselves, I mean, why are people so impressed? I mean, she told me, Adam, you only did your job. I mean, you didn't do anything phenomenal or like beyond expectations. I mean, maybe because this is what we do day in and day out, we don't feel there was anything special. And I agree. I did not do anything special. But to be honest with you, when I got to know the show a little bit more, I think that the bar was too low to the point where people were just impressed that somebody got on the show and did their job. And they just looked like a normal person. Exactly. A lot of people told me that. A lot of people, and especially people who are, you know, from the Arab region, but they live in the States and they watch the show. They reached out to me and they were like, we do understand that you are just a normal person, but I hope you realize that you're getting so much, you're making so much fuss because you are a normal person. And that is not something we're used to on this show.
I'm going to argue with one point or quibble with one point of that. I feel like words are one way to translate, right? Like I speak Spanish, I could translate someone's words, but the sentiment that comes through the words, you translated the Jordanian culture for Britney, which is something very unfamiliar to North Americans. Like the value system, the Muslim values, that is something very unfamiliar to us.
Right. And to a girl like Britney, who, you know, is a young female who's kind of like a party girl and doesn't really understand that kind of value system, you were able to get through to her. And that was what was the most impressive, I think, to a lot of the viewers.
I understand where you're coming from. And there are 2 points I'd like to add to this. Well, when you do professional interpretation, you get to learn that words are only part of what you're supposed to interpret. Because when you understand human communication, you understand that verbal communication barely makes up 50% of what we convey usually in our communication. So you need the good interpretation needs to take into account the tone of voice, needs to take account body language, expressions, and a lot of things So you make sure that if you're translating to someone, they're actually getting the full picture, or as full as it can be. So that is, again, maybe that's where my wife and I were coming from. That was part of the job. That's why we were saying it's part of the job. And about Britney and the value system, I don't think I would agree that she doesn't have a value system or that she did not understand it. I think maybe this is something that did not really show very well on the show. But when we were having that discussion, everything, she was concerned, and she really made it clear that in her previous communications with Yazan, there was a lot of frustration because of the language barrier. A lot of these nuances of the culture and the language were not really delivered in a way that felt sincere to her, or that were delivered in a way that was, maybe the right word is, that delivered in a way that she could understand. Because Yazan, a thing about Yazan, and any person really, it's not just about Yazan, when you can't speak a certain language, in a sense, you try to dump down your thoughts and the ideas that you want to get across. So you don't get the nuances across, and you can't get them across. You can't really speak and act in a way that is normal to you. And that increases levels of frustration. That's why in the beginning of the show, most of their interactions are either them telling each other, okay, let's forget about what happened, or fighting. Because if you can't communicate, that's the only two things that you can do.
So I think that what I'm hearing from you is that being a translator requires a tremendous amount of empathy.
Yes, that comes with the job.
You're translating someone's personality, in other words, not just their words.
Yes, and you're translating a language's culture and personality, and that is something that you need to understand, and you need to help the other person accept that and understand everything about it.
So are you Jordanian? Oh, I apologize.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, my cats were squabbling.
Your cats the cats want to be on the podcast.
Meow. Please pause all your fuckery, please. No, leave Pluto alone. No. Okay, you know what? Come here. Okay, it's too late.
That's so funny. My dogs are like that all day long.
I was just gonna say that's kind of like your dogs.
Yeah, my dogs are always having some kind of issue. I was gonna ask you, are you from Jordan? Are you Jordanian?
So I am a Jordan national, but ethnically speaking, I am not Jordanian. I am an actual Caucasian. So in the States, when you want to refer to someone who is quote unquote white, you use the word Caucasian. A lot of people don't know that Caucasian refers to people who descend from the Caucasus region in present-day Russia. So there's a lot of nations that live there. We call ourselves Caucasians, and particularly I'm from a people, we call ourselves Adiga. So we are the original Caucasians.
Oh, then I must be too. But really what I meant is, were you born in Jordan? Have you lived your life there?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So where did you get this accent? I mean, where did you learn English? Because you almost sound like you speak the Queen's English.
To be honest with you, that is a question that I always unable to answer, because frankly, I do not remember how I acquired the accent. And there is no distinct process that I went through to learn English. So I come from a bilingual household, and maybe that is the reason why my mind was so open to language early on. Sorry. And going to school, learning about English, I think I just, I liked the language. I started practicing it, learning more about it. And I just have this moment in my head, in my early teens, where okay, I can speak English pretty good. And at one point, I have this other memory of looking at the mirror and trying a number of accents. Where I got them from, I have no idea. And trying to look into the mirror and see what makes sense, what fits, or what is Adam, or if Adam is going to speak English, what's the right way Adam should sound? That's my thought process at the moment. And I kept going through one thing to another. Of course, they were all very mutilated. They resemble nothing. But I think at one point, this sounded right in my head. And from that point on, this is how I speak English.
I actually understand you because I am bilingual, English and Spanish, but
Mhm,
Mexican Spanish because I lived in
mhm.
Mexico for a short time. I could not speak with a Spanish accent. I speak Mexican Spanish, so I kind of understand what you mean.
Yeah.
So are you Muslim?
Yes.
Got it. So here's a question that everyone has for you.
Mhm.
Did
Go
you
ahead.
actually did Brittany actually hire you or was that
Mhm.
production?
Another very unfulfilling answer to that question, which is I do not know for sure. So let me tell you what happened. So Brittany, I do think that it was Brittany who requested an interpreter. I'm not sure about that, but it was not Brittany who reached out to me directly and hired me directly because I don't think she knew about me. She didn't have the capacity. It doesn't go that way. That's my understanding. So the people who reached out to me were production. But my understanding is that it was because Brittany wanted me to help. That was the case, I think, for the first time, and also in the next episode where you see her with Ubaida. And actually, the whole experience of being part of the show, or being called into the show, is quite a funny story. I got a call from one of the translation agencies that I work with, and my boss just was like, "Hi Adam, how are you doing? I'm okay. Listen, have you ever been on camera before?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "No, no, as an actor." Well, I did some acting back back in college, but can you please give me more details? Why are we talking about my acting endeavors? And he was like, because I got a phone call from this producer or director, I'm not sure, and they were asking for an interpreter, and specifically our best interpreter, to go live and translate on camera. And I was like, can you please elaborate more on what you want? Maybe I can find you someone who's more suited. And they were like, no, we want your best interpreter. And he told them, well, this is might be a bit out of your budget because I'm a very specialized interpreter. Most of my clients, most of the context I work at is like medical, humanitarian, military, political. So he wanted to try to find what they're looking for and give them something that fits in terms of budget and experience. But they were like, no, just give us your best person. And he was like, you know what? I'm calling you. Are you free tonight? I'm like, okay, sure. You know what? I have nothing to do. I usually handle very intense situations. So something off in front of a camera and acting and like a series or something, you know what? This is going to be a breeze. I'll take it. I was like, okay, so they need you at this location at 12 a.m. And I was like, excuse me, Muhammad, what kind of series is that? What are we filming exactly? Like, I don't know. Here's the number, call them, and you're on your own. So I went there. I mean, production has taken over an entire restaurant and a cafe, and they were getting everything set up. I introduced myself, and for about 30 or 40 minutes, I was just waiting for someone to brief me, just tell me why I'm here and what I'm here to do. And a very kind gentleman comes across, introduces himself, and I think the introduction that he gave me to the show and to what I'm supposed to do there is really formed my first impression about the show and the couple, and I still have the same impression from that moment on. So he was like, "Okay, listen. So this is a series. It's a reality TV show. You know reality TV? Yes, I know it. Okay, perfect. Reality TV show. It's called 90 Day Fiancé. It's very popular in the States and Canada and that part of the world. So in our story here, we have an African American woman. Her name is Brittany. She's a rapper, and she lives a very liberal lifestyle. So she is in love and she's engaged to a Jordanian man. His name is Yazan. He is your average man, trying to find himself in the world here in Amman, Jordan. They met online, they fell in love, and now she's trying to live here with him and his family and get married. Are you following up with me so far? I'm like, yes, all good, sir. Go ahead. Okay, so you're coming in at a point in their life where there's a lot of heated discussions, a lot of disagreements. His family are not happy. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe her family is not okay as well, and they have kind of reached a wall. They can't communicate with each other. Oh, by the way, Brittany does not speak any Arabic, and Yazan's English is poor. I mean, he barely can communicate with her. But they're in love, they're engaged, and they're trying to make it work. So, as a professional at a set, I was giving him the poker face, following up with what he's saying and everything. Inside of me, I was like, come again? Engaged, in love, moving in together, they can't communicate. They can't talk to each other. What? Are you
We were
hearing
thinking
yourself?
the same thing, by the way. We were having all the same thoughts.
Using these words, you're using these words, but I don't think you know what they mean. And I agreed, and I was like, are there certain things you want me to do? They were like, no, just do your job. We're invisible. It's a real life situation. Do your job. I mean, they will explain to you what they want you to do, and we're just giving you like background so you understand what's going on. We can't tell you anything from this point on. It's real life. Go ahead and do your job. It's like, fair enough. Fine, let's do this. And I'm sorry for the long story, but I mean, I still have this impression until this day. I mean, of me feeling like this does not make sense.
Which is basically the essence of the show. I think that's why it's so popular, right?
That's 90 Day Fiancé. It doesn't make sense, and that's why we love it.
Well, and I mean, it's a fascinating thing to see people from different cultures coming together and trying to understand each other. And most of the time, it doesn't work. I mean, it just doesn't. So
I think I have to really disagree with that, because I mean, even in my personal family, my wife and I, we're not so apart, but we come from slightly different worlds. My best friend as well, he has the same case. I know a lot of people who have relationships with their partners who a lot of people thought it would not work because there were so many things different about them. They're coming from different cultures, different mentalities and all. But I think the only thing that was important in their relationship, and they had it, and they invested in it, was communication. I mean, there was love, and it was built on communication. It was built on two people who want to make it work, who are genuinely interested in each other and have explored each other and, you know, spent a lot of time together. But when you're with someone that you met for, I mean, I remember going back and trying to understand more when I was done with the show, trying to understand, I mean, what did I miss? I mean, how did Yazan and Brittany start? What happened? And I remember finding this video on YouTube about Brittany introducing the relationship and all of that. And if I am not mistaken, she said something like, we met through his sister. She was on the phone with him. I saw him and I was immediately attracted to him. He as well. We started talking, and at some point, after some time, he sent her a ticket to come to Jordan. They hanged out for a week or so, during which he proposed, and she said yes. and I remember just looking like this at the screen. Okay.
yeah, what's your opinion about that? Proposing to someone who you've known for 1 week in person?
I mean, you have to be, you know, hammered to do something like that, really.
And he didn't even drink, right?
Allegedly, I don't know.
Allegedly.
So
I think no. What I mean by allegedly is that they claim that it was, you know, their decision, but I think it would be in their favor, or at least in Yazan's favor, to say that, you know what, I was drunk.
I'm not stupid. I was just drunk.
That would make more sense. That would make more sense.
Yeah, it would.
Did you ask him about that afterwards? Did you say, what were you thinking, dude?
So just so you know, while we were filming 90 The Other Way and the tell-all for The Other Way, my communication with Brittany and Yazan was very limited. So it was only while we were shooting. Beyond that, I was very busy at the time. I was just doing my part of the show, and when they were like, "Thank you for being here," I was out. So I was treating the whole thing just like any other gig. I'm doing my job. I'm doing as good as I can, and I'm leaving. The only I started interacting with Yazan more when we started doing the strikes back and the pillow talk and these parts. And at that point, his relationship with Brittany was over. And I am not the kind of person who likes to talk to people about their love life, especially the failures in their love life. Be not a topic that I enjoy, and I felt that we were there, and that was everything that we were talking about. So I didn't really get into a lot of details. But whenever we were joking about it, he was always kind of embarrassed and trying just to change the subject and all of that. So I didn't really want to put too much pressure on him. I was like, I understand, man, it's fine.
How did he react to all that pillow talk stuff? I mean, she had some pretty she has said some stuff that was probably unbecoming to say about a Muslim man, things that they did together. I mean, was he just humiliated by that? I cannot
I think
imagine what that was
mm,
like.
I think by the time we reached pillow talk, Yezen was, a lot way over Britney. At least that's what he claimed. Because at that point, his relationship with his now wife, Lena, was very
Mhm.
strong. They were very close to each other. And I felt that at that point, he didn't feel like he had anything to do with Britney. He was not attached to her in any way. So he was genuinely enjoying the show. He was watching, and whenever we used to ask him like, "What do you think about this?" and well, she's dating two guys at the same time. Are you okay with that? He was like, I don't think it's the right thing to do, but it's her life. Let her enjoy it. But he was a little bit more frustrated while we were doing the strikes back, because at that point he told me a number of times that in many of the interactions that were on the show, he did not understand a lot of what was going on. And having the opportunity to watch it again and having an interpreter next to him to make sure that he's understanding everything and translating every bit, he was able to connect a lot of things. And I do remember him a couple of times just getting so frustrated and upset that he just stormed out of the room and, just spent some time collecting his thoughts and recentering himself and then coming back. And I used to ask him, "Are you okay? Is there anything I can help you with?" He was like, "I'm sorry, but a lot of things are making sense to me right now. I feel like I was being fooled and I was just taken for a ride. And sorry, it just got to me. I'm ready again. Let's get back to the show."
Did he really risk his family relationships over Brittany? Is that real? Was he really in danger for his life? Was that dramatized or were you
So
concerned?
again, during the filming of Strikes Back, my interaction with Yazan was very limited. Idea. So I cannot really speak from experience about that period of time. What I can tell you is that during that time, Yazan was so distracted. He was always you can talk to him and you can know that he's zoning out. There's a lot on his mind. He's very stressed, and he's thinking about a million things at the same time. Um, while working with him during the strikes bag and the pillow talk and these shows, he was much different. He was more focused, more centered, happier. So there is a change. Now, about his family and being in danger, I do remember talking to his father about this. We did have an interaction, and his father insists that at no point was he serious about any of these accusations, but he wanted his son to believe that he was serious because he wanted him to change. He wanted him to take action and stop what he was doing. But he claims that he was not serious, and that was his way of showing his son that he needs to stop and listen to him. But Yazan believes that at certain points his father was serious. So yes, at certain points during the show, he was really scared for his life, and he was really living on his own, and he did live on his own for a long time. And you know, going back in my memory, just the few things that I've seen, I could tell that he was under a lot of pressure.
Oh. So is his family happy now that he's married to Lena, and did she move to Jordan?
My understanding is that they're very happy. Yes, because they got to meet her family. They've got to talk to her, to everyone, because part of her family, they live in Jordan. So the families were able to communicate. There's a lot of things in common. He's a Muslim, she's a Muslim. He did mention a number of times that he feels that even their understanding of the religion and their level of commitment to their religion is kind of on the same level. So he feels always that whatever they're doing, they're on the same level. So, and also same thing with the family. He got really close to her family. Now, do they live in Jordan or not? I'm not entirely sure. If I do remember correctly, the last time he told me about this, they were not sure. So they might be spending some time in Jordan, some time in the States, especially because she's still doing her undergraduate, getting her undergraduate degree. Sorry. So he might have to accommodate her, you know, going back and forth. But what are their plans exactly? That is not something I know.
I'm going to ask you one more question, and then Mary wants to talk to you about the cat shelter, and I understand, or cat rescue, and I understand that your wife wants to join you to talk about the cats.
Well,
right?
I was just talking to her about this, and she just wants to apologize from you. She just I think that she's a bit more hit by what happened today than
Yeah.
I am, and she would just rather not join the
Yeah.
show if that's okay with you.
So Mary will ask you questions about that too. I just want to know how many languages you speak and interpret.
So I speak 3 languages. My mother tongue, which is Adiga. I speak Arabic and I speak English, and that's it. But interpretive, professionally, I only do interpretation between Arabic and English.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, let's talk cats, Mary.
Yes. So
Yes.
Yes, honey, yes. And we are
That is something that I'm
patrons of
excited
your
about.
cat shelter. Kiki and Kibbitz
And that's
supports
why I'm on your
you.
show.
Woo! Go
Cat
kitties.
people need to support each other.
Yes, go kitties. So Adam, tell us about your cat rescue and all that you guys do for the kitties.
And the name of it.
Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah. So it's called Lumia. My wife came up with this name. It's French for light, and she believed that what we're doing is maybe shining some light and helping some people, being the light for these animals. And I always think about this name and try my best to embody it in our work. Lumia is a project that became official back in 2015, I think. It's not a cat shelter as you would understand it in the US, like a registered business or a charity with their own location and all these regulations and things like that. We would love to get to that point, but unfortunately, legally speaking, and given the circumstances here in Jordan, it is not that organized, but we're still doing the same work nonetheless. So we started in 2015. It was basically my own house. At that point, I moved out from my parents' house. I got a really big place that I didn't need to get, but it was very cheap. And I said, okay, let's do that. And I had like 2 or 3 rooms that I wasn't using. So I was like, okay, so I've always wanted to start this. And my wife, and at that point, she was my girlfriend. She said, why not start Lumiere? You've always wanted to do this. We've always been helping animals on our own, taking them to vets and making sure that we're doing what we're doing, but we've never had a place. So do it. I mean, let's start with what we have right now. Let's get it ready for kitties. Let's make one room for quarantine when we have kittens or cats that are sick and we need them to be left alone. Let's make like a playroom. Let's do what we need to do. And she got me excited and I started it. We started very small with like taking in 1 or 2 cats at a time, but doing the full work. So we would get them from the streets or wherever we would get them. We'd get them treated. We'd get them vaccinated, neutered, spayed, everything. And we start getting them adopted. And given the situation here in Jordan, unfortunately, the pet culture is not as strong as it is in the States, for example. And especially when it comes to adopting or having pets, people would prefer to buy, to buy a breed or something like that, and getting like what we call like a local animal, or getting any cat from the streets. That was something that we needed to work on, again, changing the culture, raising awareness, and we tried it, and we still do our best to do that right now. So that's how we started, very humble, very small, 1, 2 kitties at a time, and moving forward. And we got a lot of support, we got a lot of pushback and resistance, but we kept going. And I think back in 2000, the end of 2018, right about I got married, we kind of rented our own place, and we turned it into Lumia cat shelter. And we started expanding more, getting more people abroad as foster houses, and being able to get up to 10, 15 cases simultaneously, which was great. During that time, we had more communication with the local rescue community, with the vets and all of that. And we kept working, but things really went downhill during the pandemic, because in March 2020, the country announced that they're going into a full lockdown. The landlord that we were renting from called us, and he was like, I have to terminate your lease, because everyone else in the apartment complex are going insane about the fact that there are cats here. With the pandemic, people were scared that animals can contract and they can spread COVID. So we had, in a matter of less than 24 hours, really, to close the place and find some place to keep our cats and continue our operations. And with that, most of our support was cut off in terms of funding and donations. We really didn't get a lot. Even before that, was mostly coming from us, my wife and I, and the number of volunteers that work with us. And things started to get very difficult, but we were continuing on the same path. We were taking care of the stray colonies that we were taking care of. We were able to find places to keep our cats and keep them good. But the main issue was that a lot of our resources were cut short, and also we lost our place. And up until this day, really, the rate of adoption is incredibly low. People are still afraid to get pets because of COVID and all of that. And you have to, I understand that also another reason is because people now are struggling financially, and getting a pet is expensive. The food and accessories for pets are actually, the prices are going higher and higher every month. So it is something that people are trying to avoid, and understandably so. So that's some of the struggles. And that's when I think the 90-Day Fiancé family came to the rescue. They rescued our rescue. So after a few weeks from the first episode, a few fans found my Facebook page, and they found Lumia's cat shelter page, and they were like, we love what you're doing, we would like to help. And until that point, since 2015, we never received donations online, and we had no idea how to do it. And in the beginning, I was very hesitant. I didn't want to accept anything because I felt that's so much pressure, and I didn't really want, when you accept donations, there's a lot of responsibility, and there's a lot of ways people can use that against you. I didn't really want to get into that, but my wife and I, we had a discussion, and we decided we shouldn't really be selfish. We would think about ourselves doing this, but we know that this money we can help a lot of lives with. So we accepted, and we put a lot of ground rules that we're keeping ourselves to. We're informing our patrons, and we're informing everybody what we're doing, keeping them up to pace and updated. And we think that's something that we need to do. So we did accept that donation, and we immediately put it into use. We shared a thank you online, and people just started pouring in from that moment on. And until this day, we're still getting support from people like you guys, and we're very thankful for that. It's helping us doing a lot of TNRs, which is trap, neuter, and release operations. We're saving a lot of cats. We're feeding a lot of the colonies that we usually feed, keeping them in check. And we're hopeful that hopefully by the beginning of 2020, we'll be able to get our old place back and expand our operations, do something a little bit bigger. But I have to say that if there's one thing that I'm very glad that, one thing that came out of my experience with 90 Day Fiancé that I'm really happy about is the attention that our rescue received and the support that it's receiving. And every time I mention this show to people who know it, who know it, they keep saying that I don't know how you handle it. As far as we know, the fan base for this show is very toxic, they're very aggressive. But I tell them, well, I can understand that. I can see it sometimes, but I never receive any of that. If there's anything that I've received from this fan base, it's love and support, and I will always be thankful for that.
That's really good to hear.
Is,
And I agree, it is
great.
a very toxic fan base.
Yeah, it can be very toxic. Yeah. But we love you, Adam. And that's why we're not toxic towards you.
I know, you're normal. Like you said, you're relatively normal. So do you want to talk about what happened today and why your wife isn't coming on the podcast?
Yeah, so for the past couple of days, maybe 3 now, I've been sharing on my Instagram stories about a couple of kittens that we're currently helping. We found them around our house. They were very skinny, they were very tired and sick. And upon getting them to the vet, we realized that they have a severe case of calicivirus, and their case was very difficult. But we don't give up. We don't accept things like that. We try our best. And also the vet told us that there is a fighting chance, and if there's a chance, we're taking it. So I've been sharing updates about these particular kittens, but today, I think about 3-4 hours ago, both of them passed away at the same time. And I was coming home from the vet with my wife, and I told her that I think we have an interview or with the podcast I told you about in about an hour. Do you feel that you're in the right mental space to participate? She was like, I don't think so. Myself, I'm still kind of shocked by what happened. You would think that after, I don't know, maybe 7 years now of doing this, that things will get easier. You will be able to, I don't know, absorb it and move on faster. But it still takes a toll. It still takes a toll. For the past couple of months, we've been dealing with a lot of difficult cases, and we've been doing so because, again, because of the support we're getting from the 9-Day family, we are able to support these difficult cases. And because we're working with difficult cases, sometimes we're able to save them, and we were able to save a number of them that I've shared with our patrons and on my Instagram page. But at the same time, some of them don't make it. But so yeah, that's what happened today, and that's why Dahlia was unable to join, and I apologize for that.
Don't apologize.
Oh, don't apologize.
Our sympathies are with you. But I want to make sure you tell everyone how to support your rescue.
Well, we do. If you follow me on Instagram, or if you follow our Facebook page, which is Lumia Cat Shelter, you'll find all links in my Instagram bio, and you'll find it also in our About section on Facebook. We have a Patreon that you can join, where we share monthly or bi-weekly updates with our patrons about what we're doing and how we're spending all the money and what are our plans for the future. We interact with them. We have a messaging system if they want to message us, if they have special requests, if they'd like to get any updates. We try to accommodate that as much as possible. And for people who are not interested in monthly subscriptions, we do have a PayPal link that they can use to send money directly. And for that, we try to keep our fans updated. So I think most of my fan base is on Reddit. And I did realize that some time ago. And many of our supporters are also on Reddit. So what I've been doing or doing every month now is sharing an update on Reddit for the fans, because I've come to realize that many of my fans on Reddit, they don't have any other social media accounts. And I feel that if they support us, they are entitled to an update. They should know what we're doing. Some of them are on our Patreon and they were able to keep up themselves updated this way. But for those who, share, contribute through PayPal, I feel it's our duty to keep them updated there. So we do share updates on Reddit. I share almost on a daily basis on Instagram what we're doing. There's the Facebook page. So there's many ways that you can find us and see how we're putting your donations to use.
It's wonderful. Mary, do you have any other questions?
No, I think we covered everything. Do you have any other questions, Brianna?
I don't. I just want to say I think you're a beautiful person. And I
Thank
think
you.
that's why you have so many fans. It comes right through you. It's not,
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Why? I mean, I feel that at this point in the show, I am, growing irrelevant. My story is connected to Brittany and Yazan. Brittany is in her own way right now. She's living her life. She has I think I've heard a new boyfriend, and she's living her life. There's Yazan, who's a bit out of the scene right now with his wife. So I'm kind of at this point with the new seasons and all. I feel I'm kind of growing irrelevant. So why, after all this time, you are still interested in interviewing me?
You answer, Mary.
Because Adam, the 90-Day Fiance universe still loves you after all this time, honestly. And just the person that you are, and personally, all the work that you do with the cat rescue, I find that amazing. And I look up to you for that. I'm a cat person, and anybody that takes care of the kitties, I think it's amazing. And with 90-Day Fiance, I mean, just the fan base, they just absolutely love you. And when there is um a cast member that is good like you, it doesn't matter if they're from season 1, we will remember him or her. Is that right, Brianna?
I feel the same way, but I actually think it's those compassionate moments where you really you help these two people understand each other. Your empathy and your compassion came through, and you're beloved. That's just a fact. So
Yeah.
you're not as
Thank you very
irrelevant as you think.
Perhaps. Thank you very much. I really don't know what to say to all of that. But again, thank you for having me. Thank you for supporting the cat shelter. And I hope you got what you wanted from this interview. I hope, I mean, I had fun talking to you, ladies, and I hope you
Same.
enjoyed it as well.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you so much, Adam. Thank you.
Well, you have a great rest of your night, right? What time is it there?
It's 7:20 p.m.
Okay. Well, you have a great rest of your
So
evening.
it's around sunset now. You two have a great day, you two. And
Yes.
Brianna, I'm very sorry that I got your I know you have a meeting in about a couple of minutes, so I'm sorry that I was a bit late and you have to do these
It's
things back to back.
fine. It's fine. We really, really appreciate you. And I just want to say before you go, everyone, please go support Lumia Cat Shelter.
Yes.
Let's help save these kitties.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Have a
You
great
have a
day.
good night. Take
All right.
care.
Bye, Adam.
Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.